Hey techies, welcome back to another video. In this full Java course playlist, we'll be seeing from the scratch to end. So in this video, we'll be seeing about the conditional statements. We are going to learn one of the most important topics in Java programming, that is conditional statements and switch cases. This video is going to be a complete session of This video is going to be a complete session of the conditional statements. So watch till the end and practice along with me. So if you are a beginner, don't worry, I'll explain everything from scratch. So let me begin. So what is decision making in Java? Okay, in real life we make decisions every day. For example, if traffic signal is red, we will be stopped. If our battery is low, we will charge the phone. If our mark is greater than 35 or 40, it is a pass mark. So Java programs also need to make some decisions. For this purpose, Java provides conditional statements. These conditional statements help the program to check a condition to execute the code based on the true or false, like the booleans. So we will see how it's done. First, conditional statements. You know the word if. Okay, if something happens, it have to do some work. Okay, for example, if my battery is low, I have to charge my phone. This is a condition. If this condition is true, I have to do this. So what we are checking is true or false. Okay, if my charge is not low, that means my charge is more than enough for me. For example, 80%. I don't need to charge my phone. So then time I can leave this. I don't need to do this. So it is the same the Java will also do. So see here, if is a keyword. If is a keyword in Java. So we'll be seeing around 4 types of conditional statements. With switch case, we'll be having 5 types. Okay, first we will see if. For example, if true, I am printing hello. Okay, see here, if true, I am printing something. If I give if false, then there is no need to do this because it becomes false. So we'll entirely skip this. So this is what happens in between the conditional statements. So if this is fails, it will skip it. We have different types of conditional statements over there. That is, we'll see one by one. First, if else if ladder, nested if, after that switch cases. These are the things that we will be seeing in this video. So we will move on to if statements. So the if statement executes the code only when the condition is true. So first we will see the syntax. Syntax is nothing but the structure of a code that has to be exactly same like that. If anything change, the compiler will throw an error. It is a basic structure or a condition that it have to be like that only. So we will see. First, the syntax of if. I'll write the syntax. So for that, if parenthesis, within the parenthesis I have to give condition. Okay. After that, I have to give a block of code or statements. If these conditions become true, then this block of code will execute. So the main rule is if true, block executes. If false, then the block will be skipped. Okay, we will see a demo program. For example, we will take the age for voting. Okay, the normal age to vote is 18. So I am getting an input from user as age. For example, I am taking 20. I have to check. First, we will see the syntax. See here. First, we have to put if, then the parenthesis. Within that, we have to give conditions. In this condition, we will be using the comparative operators. Those are less than, equals, greater than, equals, less than, greater than, double equals, not equals, those things. For that, if age is greater than or equal 18, then I can say eligible to vote. If your age is greater than 18. So we will see the compilation here. First, the compiler will come here. Then the assign age equals 20. Now it will run here. Then it will check if age is greater than or equals 18. 20 is greater than or equals 18. 20 is greater than 18. So this condition will become true. So if true, then the block will be executed. So print eligible. Here I am just writing the pseudocode. So you will not using print. We will be using system.out.println. So just for the pseudocode I am writing print. So don't confuse with that. In Python only we will be using print. In C we will be using printf. So we will be seeing another program. For example, we will be check a number is positive number or not. Okay, we see the number line. First we have to understand the core logic, how it is working. It is like 5, it is minus 5. Minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, which into 2, 3, etc. See here, minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. If a number is greater than 0, then that means it is a positive. If a number is less than 0, it is negative. So we have to write the code for that. By basically using the syntax, first we will declare a variable and a number equals -5. Then I will write the code if number is greater than 0, because every number greater than 0 is a positive number. So if a number is greater than 0, then system.out.println positive number, or else we can check if a number is negative number or not. Before that, we will see for this negative number. So the compiler will store the value of -5 in the number variable. Then it will check -5 is greater than 0 or not. Then it will become false. Then if false, the block of code will be skipped by the compiler. It will go to the next line. So there is no next line here. So nothing will be happen. So we will check for the negative number. Same number in number equals negative 5, then if the number is greater than, if a number is less than 0, then it is negative number. See here, if a number is less than 0, it is a negative number, because in the number line 0 will be the center number. After that positive numbers will be there, then the negative numbers will be there. The negative numbers will be always in the left side of 0, and the positive numbers will be always right side of the 0. That means the positive numbers are always greater than 0 and the negative numbers are always less than the 0. If I want to check if the current number is 0, because 0 is neither positive nor negative, so we can simply check if the number is equals 0, then we can check it is 0 or not. We can simply say 0. So we will move on to the next, that is called if-else statement. So you may ask, why is this if-else statement is exist? Because in if-else, for example in if, there is only one possibility. But for if-else, we can do multiple, in the sense, for an if-else, we can do two things. We can check two things. And one more thing is there, we can use logical operator, for example, and, or, not. Because in a if condition, if I give true, then it will execute this block. Instead, if I give false and true, then it won't be executed, it will be skipped. Or else, if I use or instead of and, then there is one more possibility. It will execute even if any one of the two conditions is true. Okay? Then we can check one more thing. If a number is not that number, if the number is not equal 0, then I can print it is not 0. Okay? For and, the both conditions have to be true. For the or, if either one of them is true, then the condition will execute it. And one more thing, that is not. Not is nothing but an exclamatory symbol. We'll be using that as an not operator. If you use not true, then the condition will become false. See here, if I use not false, then if the condition is false, it will toggle it to true. If the condition is true, then it will toggle it to false. If it is false, then it will be executed because of this not or. So the false will be converted into true, the true will be converted into false. This is the use of not operator. So we will see an example for that. For that, first we will see and operator. Let me take the scores, the exam scores for that. For example, if I take my marks 80 out of 100, then if my marks greater than or equals 35 and marks less than or equals 100, I can say I am pass. And it is a valid mark. You may ask why I am saying it is a valid. Because the number range is 0 to 100. If it goes beyond that and goes after that, then that means it is an invalid. You can't get 105 out of 100 marks. So, it is a valid mark and this is a pass mark. So, it will check come here, 80 greater than or equals 35 and 80 less than or equals 100. 80 is greater than 35, so true, and 80 is less than 100, so true. True and true will give true. Then the output of pass and it is a valid mark will be printed. Okay. Then we will see another example for OR operator. So here we can check the discount. For example, I am using age. For example, I am taking my age as 65. If your age is less than 18, that means you are a child or a not adult, or if your age is greater than 60, then I will give some discount. For example, I am printing discount applicable. If you are an elder or if you are a child, the discount can be possible. So, I am checking either one of them. You may be a child or you may be a elderly people. So that means if either one of them is true, you will get discount. Okay. So it will come, I'll write the iteration and the try run. First, it will initialize the age as 65. Then it will check 65 is less than 18. It is false. Or 60 is less than 65. It is true. Our age is greater than 60. So false or true, it is true. So the code will be executed. You will get some discounts. So we will move on to the next topic, if else statements. So you may ask, why if else statements we can do only if? For example, for the even and odd numbers, if we take even and odd numbers, there are two possibilities. Either it is even or it is odd. Right? It can be even or odd. For example, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. These are even. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. These are odd. So there can be two possibilities. So then we can use if else. For example, if I am taking a number, for example, if true, this will be executed. Else, this will be executed. If this if condition fails, it will directly come here and execute this code. So what we have to see is, if the condition fails, it won't check any other conditions, it will directly come to else and this condition will be executed. First we will be seeing syntax, after that we will see some examples. If syntax for if else. If the condition after that, this is called a true block, because if this is true, it will execute, and else. This is called false block. Why? If this is failed, then if the condition is true or false, the condition becomes true, this block of code executed. If the condition becomes false, then this block of code will be executed. So that means it can be two sides. Like coin, we have head or tails. It either can be head or tails. So like that only, we will be having two sides. If this is true, it will execute. If this fails, then the else block will be executed. Then there is no need to check anything. It will directly come down there and it will do that else case. So we will see the example programs. After this, we will check the codes on the Visual Studio Code. So first, I will explain the even or odd. So before that, in the previous video, I have said about the operators. I have said every even number that is divisible by 2. Because, let me take some numbers. For example, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. If I divide these numbers with 2, I will always get remainder as 0. Let me check here. For example, I will take 6, then 3 times, then I will get 6 and 0. This is called a remainder. This is the dividend. This is divisor. And this is called quotient. When you use divide operator, you will get the quotient. When you use modulo operator, you will get the remainder. So, if you use modulo operator with 2, then if it gives 0 as a remainder, then that means it is an even number. Instead of that, it can produce 1. If it produces 1, it means it's an even number. We will check for the another number. For example, I will take 7 here, then 2 here. 3 times of 2 is 6. I will get the remainder as 1. This is called remainder and quotient. Okay, we will get remainder as 1. So if I get remainder as 1, it is a even number. So we have to check. We will use the if statement. If, before that I will declare a variable int number equals, for example, 7. If my number divided by 2 and gives the remainder as 0, okay, then that means it is an even number. If it is not even number, then that means it is an odd number. Because there is only 2 cases. So we will be using if else. So if it is true, it will do this. If it is false, it will do this. So we will do an iteration here. First, 7 will come here and check if the number is divided by 2 and then gives 0. 7 modulus 2 will return 1. After that, 1 equals 0 will return false. So if false, the false statement, that means the false block is nothing but the else block, will be executed and the output will be printed as odd. If I choose 8 instead of 7, then 8 modulus 2 will return 0. Then 0 equals 0 is true. So if true means this is the true block, then this true block will be executed. We will do that code in the Visual Studio Code. First we will see the if conditions. After that we will do the if else conditions. First we will see the if programs. For example, first I am checking the age eligibility. I am checking age, so I am using age.java. So I'm creating the class. First create public class. File name is the class name. So age. After that, public static void main. Then for example, I'll take age equals 20. Okay. We have taken our age as 20. So what we have to do then? If is the keyword. Then we have to give the condition. For checking age verification, we have to give age is greater than or equals 18. Then we have to print you are eligible for voting. Okay, we'll run this. See here, you are eligible for voting. Okay, then we will check that for the positive or negative of the number. So I'll do another one more thing. Before that, I'll comment it. So as I said before in the previous videos, comments are the lines that is used to improve the readability. So it will be ignored by the compiler. So I have just commented it. So I'll do the next thing. If for the number systems, if a number is, I'll make it as number. If a number is greater than 0, then that means we can say it is a positive number, right? I am giving the same 20 as input, so we will get the output as positive number. Okay, after that we will move on to the next thing, if else. Okay, first for the age verification we will do the if else, because see here, if your age is greater than or equals 18, I am letting them know you are eligible for vote. If not, I have to tell them you are not eligible for vote, right? So I am removing this line. After I am commenting it, I have changed the variable name into age. So my age is now 20 and the age that is required for voting is 18. So you are eligible for voting. If not, then that means you are not eligible for voting. So I am printing you are not eligible for voting. So let me check. If I run this, you are eligible for voting as for the age of 20. If I give 16, then I am running it again. You are not eligible for voting. I have some spelling mistakes here. So if this fails, then it will move on to this else block. So it will come here and check 16 is greater than or equals 18. Then it is false. So it will move on to this false code. That means the false block, nothing but the else block. Then it will be printing this, you are not eligible for voting. First, I am declaring it as none. Before that, I will be getting a scanner class. So for that, I will be importing it. Import java.title.scanner. If you are not knowing what is scanner, I have put that in my first video of input and getting your code. So do make sure to see the playlist from basics to now. So you won't get any doubts regarding that. So please check out these videos. So come after that. So I have first imported the scanner class. After that I have to create the scanner variables. That means nothing but the object scanner s1 equal to new scanner and system dot. So this will be used to get the input from the terminal. After that we have to use s1 dot next thing. So we have got the input from the terminal. So then we have to check if the number is divisible by 2, then give 0 as a remainder. That is nothing but an even number. If it is not even, it is an odd number. So we will be printing sysau. So it is an odd number. So now then we will be checking the code with the input we are giving. So that is, if I give 1, 2, 3, see this is an odd number. So I will be checking it with again. I am checking it with 2, it is an even number. So if we check it with 1, it's an odd number. So we can check it in the another way. For example, if I check the number divided by 0, if it gives not equal 0, then that means it is an odd number, or else it is an even number. Correct? So we will be checking it again. Returns not equal 0, that means 1. So we will be checking it. So I am giving the input as 12. So it gives even number again. So that means our coding is running correct. So I am giving 1 to check again. So I have given 11. So I am getting it as an odd number. So we can check in another way as well. For example, equals instead of 0 I am giving 1. So now again we will checking. I am giving 1. It's an odd number. And if I am running again and giving the input as 2, it gives an even number. So this is how we will be checking the odd and even numbers. So we can check the positivity of a number. Okay. Now we will check the positivity of a number. First I will comment this. After that we will go if a number is greater than 0, then that means it's a positive number. I am giving it as positive number. Else negative number. So let me check. For 12, it is a positive number. If I give negative 23, it's a negative number. But here there is a problem. For example, if I run this again, and if I give the input as 0, then we are getting negative number. But we don't have to get as negative, because 0 is neither positive nor negative. So that's where the else if later is come. There's a keyword called else if. Okay, we'll be checking on that else if. Before that we'll be checking with another problems. After that we'll be moving to that. First we'll check with the logical operators, logical and, logical or, and not. We'll compile it. And first, if one more thing is that you can give like this also. If you give if true, and so then if I run here, just asking, see this printing because it is always true. But if I give false here, then I am running it, some inputs, then nothing is happening. Okay, so see here, it says it is a dead code. The dead code is nothing but it won't run even a single time because, and as well as it can't show any errors because this code is not incorrect. Instead of that, this code won't run even a single time because it will be always false. So that's why I'm saying it as a dead code. So we'll change it to true. So we will check the logical outputs. For example, if true and true, then if I run, before that I'll comment this scanner line. So I don't need to give any inputs. So I'm running it. So true and true, I'm getting hello techies. So after that, I'm giving true and false. See, it will become a dead code again because it can't run again because true and false will always return false. So after that, I am changing it to false again, false and false. Then if I run it again, it still as a dead code. If I change this to all, then this is a dead code because both are false. See here, it is a dead code. So we'll be changing this into true again. Now it will become true. Now it's not a dead code because even if a single one of the condition is true, then it will run. So if I am changing it to true, see it's running again. So we will move on to the not operator. If not, see it became a dead code. Why? Because it can't run. It is just a deadline. It won't do anything. Just storing in our storage. So if I change this to false, this not operator will change this to true. Not false is true. So we'll get the output as hey techies. Hello techies. So now we got the out. So now we will see some examples using the programs, the AND operator. For example, the valid mark I have teach in the whiteboard. I'll now run this code. If I'm naming it uncommutate and name it as marks. For example, if my marks is less than 35 or let me take like this, greater than or equals 30 and my marks is less than or equals 100, then I can say that it is a pass mark and it's a valid mark. For example, I am naming it as pass and it is a valid mark. Then in the else case, it's a fail mark. Okay, if my mark is greater than 35, I can surely say that I am pass or else I will be failed. So we will now check the code. So I am running it. I am giving it as 56. Then it's a pass mark. If I run it again, and 34, it's a fail mark. If I give 160, it says it's a fail mark because we have given the condition in between the 35 and 100 is pass mark, and it's a valid. If I want to change it to a fail mark or else pass mark, but here there is a special case condition. If what my mark is greater than 100, like 160 or negative numbers, so in that case we will be seeing else if. So we will now see that the else if ladder is used for when we use multiple condition. There is multiple condition that is exists. First we will see for the syntax is if in the parenthesis we have to give the condition. After that curly braces, then block of code will be written here, then else space if, and again another condition, block of code. If you want another condition, you can write again another else if condition, block of code. If you want multiple else if, like you can even write up to 100 times or more than all. You can write multiple times else if conditions. After that you can write else. If all these conditions are failed, then the else condition will be. So that's why we will be using else here. If it fails, it will come and check. Even if it fails, it will check the another condition. If it fails, it comes here, and if it fails, it will directly go to else block and execute the code within. So now we will see the examples for that. Okay, first we can choose it the grading system. You know, if I score around 90 to 100, I score A, and if I score 80 to 89, I score B, and 70 to 79, I score C, and 60 to 69, I score D, and after that 50 to 59, E, and below then let's take it as 5, less than 50. So let's take it as a grading system. We'll write a program there. So we'll take the mark from the user and dot extent. I'll get the input from the user. Now first I have to check if my marks is greater than or equals 90, system.out.println A grade. Else if my marks is greater than or equals 80, I'll print B. Else if my mark greater than or equals 70, I'll print C grade. Else if my marks is greater than or equals 60, I'll print D. Else if my marks greater than or equal to 50, then I will print E. Then in the else case I am giving it as fail. See here, first the compiler will come here. If I give any mark like 31st, it will come here. Check 35 is greater than or equal to 90. Then it will false. It will come to the else if condition. Then it will check 35 is greater than or equals 80. So it will see it as false. Then after that it will come to the another else if block. 35 is greater than or equals 70. Again it fails. It come down here. Then it will check 35 is greater than or equals 60. Then it again fails. Then it come to here. Then if 35 is greater than or equals 50, it is another false. So it come to the else block and execute this fail statement in the output console. So let me take another example. For example, if I take 60, it will come here. 60 is greater than or equals 90, false. So it will fails. Then 60 is greater than or equals 80, then it is again false. It will go to the another else if block. Then check 60 is greater than or equals 70, then it is again fails. Then it will check 60 is greater than or equals 60, then here it will become true. Then the D grade will be print. Okay. When we use multiple statements, the multiple cases, we will be using the else if ladder. If, else if, and after that the else case. And one more thing is there in the else if block, the conditional statements. If you are giving a single statement within the else block, if, for example, if my age is greater than 80, like this, if I give a single statement, I'm just writing the pseudocode as print, like something hello. Okay, I don't need curly brace for a single line of command within the else if block or else block. But if my age is greater than 18, like this, and if I write print hello, after that print tech keys like this. Now there are two statements. See, there are two statements. Here you can't leave the curly braces. You have to give the curly braces, or else it will throw an error. While you are using a single condition, you don't need to give the curly braces. Or else if you want, you can give, but the best practice is to use the curly braces. If you don't want, you can leave it. I will now run the compiler to check it. So for example, I have written a code. If my marks is greater than 19, then my marks, I am changing the value of marks into 23, then I am printing hello. And I have written a else case here. Here I didn't give any curly braces, now I am giving it. See here, it will look like a structured code now. But if I remove this, the else case will throw some error. See here what it says. Else case without, I said before, if you didn't give any curly braces, it will only take this first line within the if block. This case is left without the next block. So it is not inside a if block currently. So this will be interfering with the both if and else case. This line will be interfere with both case. So that's why this is showing error. If I comment it, see, the else case now didn't show any errors, because if you give any single line of code there, it won't interfere with the if and else. So that's why if you are using if and else for a single command of code, you don't need curly braces. So but the best practices for the writing the code is you have to use curly braces. So it may look structured. Okay, so now we will see the grading systems. So I am getting input from the user. Then if my marks is greater than 90 or else greater than or equals 90, I am printing grade or else if my mark is greater than or equals 80, I have to print grade B. Again another else here. If my marks is greater than or equals 70, then I can print my grade is C. So again another else is greater than or equals 60. I am printing it as grade B. So I am mentioning all other possibilities of marks are failed. Okay, now let me check. First I am entering the mark as 65. See here, grade D. So now we will check with another input, 32. It's failed. Again I am giving 100. It's grade A, and I am running it. I am giving 76. Then I am getting grade C. Then I am giving 80. It's grade B. Then 50. It's a failure. As I given to the inputs, it giving the output. So if you want to give it in multiple test cases, for example, we can choose the months or the weekdays. If the first day is Monday, the second day is Tuesday, and third day is Wednesday, fourth day is Thursday, and fifth day is Friday, and the sixth day is Saturday, and the seventh day is Sunday. So I can, if I want, I can write that code also. For example, I'll move on there, and I am writing that if the day equals 1, okay, the first day I can say it's Monday. My day is equals 2, then it is Tuesday. If day is equals 3, it's Wednesday. Then my day is equals 4, then I can say it's a Thursday. Then if my day is equals 5, it's a Friday. My day is equals 6, it's a Saturday. Then my day is equals 7, I can say it's Sunday. And one more case is there. What if I give -1 or 0 or 9, like that numbers? So we can say, we can use else case here and print it's an invalid input. So can you enter the input from 1 to 7? Okay. And also we can use for January, February, the months. For the months also we can do the else if case. So we will see the nested if or else the nested if. So the nested if is nothing but the if inside the another if, like this. If a condition in that if another if, what will do is, for example, if I write else here, that means this else is for this if only. If I want to write else case, I have to write the else case within this if for this else case. Why? Because if this is true, then it will go and check if this is true or not. If it fails, it will go to the else case. So we can check for the login. For example, user equals, for example, I am taking it as admin. Again, if my pass equals 1 2 3 4, after that print login success. This passes, then it will go here, and this also passes, then it will print here. For example, we can take it as logical and both passes till true. But the one thing is here, if this only passes and this fails, we can write else here. Within this if block, there is if and else case. If this passes, it will go down here. If it fails, it will do this else case. If it passes, then it will do the if. As I said before, we can write multiple if inside another if. Like this. Within that if, I can also give another if. Like that it can go. We can also write else if within that after the if. And one more thing, the most of the beginners do a mistake is, you can't give else without if, and you can't use else if before giving a if. But you can ignore the else case. You can ignore the else if case. For example, if and else, and you don't need to give else case compulsory. It is not mandatory. But if is mandatory. And one more error is there, that is, if you give if condition, then else condition, after that you can't give else if. Because if you give else, that means this total conditional statement is closed. So after that, if you give, it will throw an error. Let me check. For example, if I remove this if, then it will become if, else, and else if. See, throwing an error. So some syntax errors is there. That is nothing but the misplaced construct. So because within the else we can't give any condition. Okay, if else, and after that in the else if case it says else is without if. So we can't give like this. So let me check one more thing. If I remove this if, it must have to throw an error. Yes, it's showing else without the if. Okay. So these are the conditions. With the if is a mandatory, but you can ignore else if and else case. And the else case is the end of the program. Else case is the end of the conditional state. So now we will see how to code in the program. For example, one more example is there. Now I will tell you using the else if. For example, if take input as month from the user, okay, if my month is 1, that means it's January and 31 days. Then else if month equals 2. In here you can't say February equals, why? Because every 4 years there will be a leap. In that every leap year there are 29 days in the February. So if month is equals, then I will declare a variable called e. From the user I am getting then I will check if it is a leap. If the year modulus 4 equals 0. Why? Because every 4 years the leap year will come. And year modulo 100 not equal 0, because if you do this, for example, if I take any year like 200 or any number, if I divide it with 4, that is, it will come 4 years only. But we can divide it with 4. If you do that, you will get 20. Other than 20, that means the two table, all years is not a leap year. It means it must divided by 4 and it is not divided by 100. And there is a special case there. For example, 4 into 100, that is 400. That means the year 400 is a leap year, but it have to be called as a leap year. So what we have to do is, year is divided by 4 and return 0, and year modulus 100 not equal to 0. This is a single condition. Or year modulo 400 equals 0. That means this is a year, right? Then that means you can print February 29 days because it's a leap year. Else case, you can write February 28 days, not a leap year. Other than all the cases, you can write else if month equals 2, then that means that month is, for example, month is 3, that is March, month is 4, it is April. Like those days of the month will be common. That means it is static, it won't change. But for February, every 4 years it will. So that's why we have to check for the year. Okay, then one more thing is there. If I am using if condition, can I use another if condition here after? Yes, we can. Let me check. See here, I have written a code. If my marks is greater than 90 and if my marks is greater than 80. See, there is no error. If I check with 60, it won't be a problem. But if I run it and check with 90, see here, grade A and grade B. Let me explain. First I will write the code. For example, if condition marks is greater than or equals 90, then grade A. If my marks is greater than 80, grade B. See here, if I give input as 90, it will check 90 greater than or equals 90. Yes, it is true. This is closed here. This is, if is closed there itself. So it will print grade A. Then it will come here and check another if condition. If 90 is greater than 80 or not. Then again it is true. It will print grade B. Because this if is closed there itself. So this if is another if condition. So this will also execute. This will also execute. That's why if you want to check multiple conditions, if you get single input, if you want to get single output, that time you have to use else if conditions. You can't get, if you want to don't get multiple outputs, you have to use if else if ladder. Okay. Then there is one more thing is there, that is called switch cases. What is a switch cases? Okay, first we'll see. The switch case is nothing but like the else if ladder, but it is used when we have compare one variable with multiple values. For example, let me take the years, that is 12 numbers. I don't want to write else if. Instead of that, I'll take a variable. First we'll see about weeks. Int day equals, from the user input, let me take for it a sample of 5. So first we will see the syntax. Before that we will see the syntax. The syntax is switch. Within that I have to give the condition. Condition is nothing but the value. So this value, so I am using the variable. So this is nothing but the expression instead of condition. So if this expression meets here, then it will execute. Okay, then the case value. Case is the keyword. After that we have to give the value. After that we have to give the value and the semicolon. After that I have to give a break. I'll say why this break is here, and if you want we can give default. I'll explain the default as well. First we will see for this. Okay, then we write for this thing. First I have get the input from the user. So next, if you want to write the syntax, switch, within that we have to give this variable day, then the curly braces, K1 and the semicolon. We have to print Monday. Case 2. Before that we have to give a break. I'll explain the break while running in the Visual Studio Code.
It's a Tuesday. Then go on to case 7 print ln. So see here, if I give 1, it will check case 1. 1 equals 1, so it will print Monday. And this break, what will do is, if it is true, it will break the code itself. But if you remove this true, that means if you remove this break, it will execute all the cases after that the passed case. So let me explain. Open the Visual Studio Code and write an expression for that. So I am making it as int day equals s1 dot next int. Okay, we have get input as day. Next we have to use which. So next which we have to give the input, that is day. After that curly braces. Then the first case 1, we have to print Monday. Okay, after that we have to give a break. We have to give break is mandatory thing in the switch cases. Then case 2, and it is Tuesday. Again give a break. Okay, and again case 3. Then it's Wednesday. Again we have to give a break. So like that it will go until 7. So let me stop here and just write the case 7. I'm naming it as Sunday. After that we can give a value called default. For example, I'm giving it as the code is for degrees. Now I am running it and giving it the value of 1. I got Monday. Okay, and giving it 2, I got Tuesday. Okay, and again I am giving the value of 3, it's Wednesday. Okay, what if I remove this break? If I run this, I give 1. This is the case 1. It will become true and print Monday. We'll see. I have given the input 1. I got Tuesday as well. And it stops there itself because of this break. If I remove all the breaks, if I don't give any break, okay, then if I run this again and I give the value of 1 as input, it print everything, because if it passes, then it will take all of the cases is passes until it is breaks. So that's why we have to give a break to manually break the code like this. See here, if I use break in the third statement, then when it passes, this break will break the code and stop this if condition. Okay, now we will check. If I give 1, after Wednesday it stops. So we have to compulsorily use this break, or else our code will be so messy. So you may ask why this default thing is there. If I give any inputs other than these numbers within the switch case, for example, I didn't give 4 in this value. So if I give 4, it will print the default value. If I remove this, or else I'll comment this, if I run this code and give the value of 4 that is not present in this cases, so nothing is printed. So that means if you use default, if you give any values other than the case values, it will print the default value. So that's why we are using this switch cases with the break and default statement. So using this case statement, we can build a simple calculator. So let me see. Okay, for that, I'll just write the pseudocode here. So for simply calculating, we can use a character, right? If I get the character as plus, I can add. If I get a character as minus, I can subtract. If I get the character as star, I can multiply. Like those things, using this character input, I'll do with the switch case. Okay. So now let me see in the VS Code. Okay, for that, first I get two inputs from the user. Before that, I'll get the first I'll get two input from the user. Int a equals s1 dot next int. Then int b equals s1 dot next int. After that, I'm naming it as operation. S1 dot next dot, for getting character we have to use caret of index 0. So this is the first index, so I am using the caret of 0. While we are moving on to the strings and arrays, you will know what is the index value and how it is being executed. So make sure to follow along with the playlist videos, so you will get to know and you won't be confused within this video. So if you are missed any videos, go and check on the playlist from the first, so you won't get any errors and any doubts regarding that, and you won't be getting confused. And make sure to subscribe our channel to see more videos regarding these technologies. So let me move on to the topics. So after getting this character, before that, to make sure my code is running in the compiler, so I am using some printing statements. Enter the first number. I don't want to go to the next line of my code, so I am using just print, and I am copying it and paste it, and the second number. Next, I have to tell them what are the operations that I can do. So enter the operation you want to do, then within this we can give the operations: plus for addition, minus for subtraction, star for multiplication, forward slash for division. After that, if you want the remainder, you can give the modulus operator. Now we will how it is working. It's asking for the first number, I am giving 12, then 23. It's asking me to give the operation, I am giving this plus. Okay, now our input is successfully working. Now we have to do the operations. So for that, I am creating a switch case. After that, I have to give the expression. So I am giving that operation on the curly braces. For my case 1, the first case is addition, right? So for character we have to use single quotes and a semicolon. Then we have to print you have choose addition, then the output, that is nothing but a plus b. I am using curly braces here. Make sure to use curly braces for doing operations within the printing statement while you are using string, or else it will be concatenated. You may have doubts what is this concatenation. While we are moving on to the strings, I'll explain everything. So after that I am using a break case. After that, subtraction, so next one is subtraction. So I'm changing it to subtraction. After that, I'm doing a minus b. After that, star for multiplication, then multiplication, then a star b, then forward slash for division. You have to choose division and a divided by b. After that, modulus operation, then a modulus b. Okay, then I'm giving the default as choose the operation within the given options, because if I give anything other than these operations, it will print choose the operation within the given operations. So now let me run this code, and I'm giving input 23 and 45, and I'm choosing the operation as plus. So the addition operation is done. Now we have get the output. So next we will compile it again. So check, I'm giving first number as 12 and the second number as 2, and I'm giving division operation, then I got 6. So now we will check with the another operation, that I'm giving two numbers, then I'm giving ampersand. So it should choose the operation within the given options. So our coding is running correctly. This is the basic calculator program we have written using the switch case. The switch case is used for cleaner and the faster code instead of the if else. The if else is used for the ranges of the code, because in this switch cases we can give a format set of code, and the else use statement is mainly used for the shorter version of if else conditions codes. The switch is used for the longer versions for the multiple cases. So that we have concluded with this. Today we have learned about if and if else and else if ladders and nested if and switch cases. These concepts are the foundation of Java logic buildings. So if you found this video helpful, like, comment your doubts and subscribe for the full Java course video, and we'll see you in the next class. Keep coding and keep growing.